You're listening to the Preacher's Hour podcast,
a podcast that dives into culture and society from a young preacher's perspective.
I'm Jeffrey Copeland. I teach middle school history. I'm married to my wife, Selena, and I'm a student of the Bible.
And I'm Brandon Jackson. I'm married to my wife, Jess. We have 3 beautiful daughters, and I love to share the gospel with teenagers and help disciple them in their walk.
We sit down each week and have conversations about what we've learned,
what we're learning,
and what we think about current events happening around us.
Enjoy.
What is up, everybody?
Hey.
We are in this thing. We back.
Yes, we are.
This is episode 60.
Jeez.
60.
That's intense.
That's crazy.
I can't even, sometimes I'm just like, yo, we've done this 60 times. Like, we've set up a camera 60 times. We turn on a microphone 60 times.
We had 60 incredible conversations.
Well, I guess the first 10 weren't really that incredible.
Yeah,
but
this is true. We've had about 42. So, guys, we're back, episode 60. This is going to come out after New Year's. We're recording this on the 27th.
Yeah.
2 days after Christmas. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
Happy Hanukkah.
The end of 2020 has come for you if you're listening to this. We are blessed and excited to have a return guest. He was back the last time he was here. Let me double check.
You know what I just noticed?
Yes, sir.
We just had 2 return guests back to back.
Praise the Lord. Won't
Let's
he do it?
go.
But we had this
One of
guy
them was
on
the same.
here January 1st of this year. January 1st.
Are you
Episode
serious?
14 was when we
Let's
didn't even
go.
have these mics. We had still the USB mic.
Ah,
So we've come a long and mighty way.
dang. That's what we
But,
talked about community, right?
Yeah, that's right. Community, yes. Look at you, man. So we
Hey.
got my twin brother,
And my twin.
uh,
We're triplets, actually, guys.
my boy, Justin Armani Copeland, a.k.a. Stay Fresh Productions. You feel me?
Hey everybody,
Yo,
what's up, guys?
the
You-
real deep voice.
Do you, wait, first of all, your voice sounds like it smells good. Like, I don't know. How does it even happen? Just like, hello, everybody. What?
If a voice had a smell, man,
That's
That
it.
would be it.
man, I gotta say, to be here for the 60th episode,
I mean, you've been absent for 59 of them.
yeah. Well, nah, I've heard just about all of them, honestly.
Well, I'm telling you, weren't in
Yeah,
there.
exactly. I was not. I certainly was not in the vicinity. But it's really an honor to be a part of your 60th. I mean, that's a big deal. 50 was a huge milestone, as you already know. You crossed that, already blown it by 10,
Sheesh.
and now you're 40 away from 100. You're more than halfway,
God,
which
dog,
is insane.
Dang.
So it's an honor to
Giving
be
us
here.
game. Yeah, man. So if you guys do not know, first of all, go back and listen to that episode 14. It was really good. But my brother, we are 45 minutes apart. He's 45 minutes older than me. And he has been on a crazy journey in his life. He's done a lot of really cool things, been a lot of really cool places. He is a musician, a professional musician, plays the trumpet and the piano, among other things. And he has been doing YouTube for 4 years now. 4 years.
Dang.
He's a fragrance reviewer and connoisseur, and just overall, just your look and your smell and your essence of who you are. He's all about helping people improve that with the Stay Fresh Productions.
Dang, Jeff. Nobody's ever put it that way.
I mean, that's what we do out here. It's what I do.
That's what I do.
And you're up to what, 32,000 subscribers on YouTube?
That's crazy.
right.
Last time he was just only 27.
Dang,
That's right.
Dude.
man,
the
that wasn't even that
It
long.
wasn't that long ago.
It's been growing, man.
Yeah.
We all growing out here.
Seriously.
Yes, bro. We are up to 46
YouTube
subscribers on
subscribers,
YouTube,
for
which
real.
is a big deal for us.
Huge deal.
You know what I'm saying?
For organic growth, man. And I've been plugging you guys. I link you, all your links, Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, and all my videos now.
What?
Yeah,
man.
And I've had some folks comment and say, hey, I checked out the podcast and whatnot.
Hey,
So
that's
people,
tight.
they're looking out for
Hey,
it.
that's dope.
That's dope,
Yeah,
man.
man. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's real community right there.
Yeah, man.
Real community.
Yeah. So, so we're ending 2020 in a few days, which is pretty crazy. It's been the most undescribable, different year in the history of mankind.
Facts.
Yes.
And so We got a few questions up here on the screen. You guys can see them.
Yeah. So before we hop into questions, I just want to
Yeah.
get something from you guys. So 2 words that were overly played out this year. Like what are 2 words you just heard over and over again that's like, yo, I can't wait to leave this word in 2020.
Quarantine.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm about sick of that. There's a lot of compound words.
Yeah.
Social distance.
Yeah.
I'm sick of pandemic.
Shelter in place.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
I'm sick of that.
Pandemic.
The one I'm like super tired of, and I guess we'll probably hear it for our lives, but unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
Like how many
Yeah, man.
how many times can it be unprecedented to where
Unprecedented. How many times we've said unprecedented? Never happened before.
and just like yo, and then everything like I'm just like we can't keep continuing this word. Like let's just change it. Like just call it something else.
This
Like
is
when good became like bad. When Michael Jackson came out with bad, and then like bad became a word for good. We need to find a word to like change for unprecedented.
Yeah, I agree. I'm about sick of that too.
Man,
Good point.
yeah.
That's a good question, bro.
The whole time I was like, man, I can't stand this word.
Yeah.
But then I was like, maybe there's some other words people don't stand. So even for like you, the listener, what are some words that y'all could think of that like just want to leave it in 2020?
Yeah. Also, I
But
just
it's-
want to quickly shout out everybody who checked out our live stream, our
Yeah.
very first live stream that we did, which technically is episode 59. And then
That was fun.
technically episode 58 will come out after 59 and before this episode. So it's going to be real weird, guys, but it adds up. Okay, it adds up. But yeah, for everybody who checked it out, I think last time I checked, we were at like 20 views, which is really cool. And then there's a few people who are on there with us. We're definitely going to do that again. We just had to like get our first one out the way to see how it was.
It's a lot to learn. Like
It's a lot.
You
I
just
learned
don't-
it in like 5 minutes.
yeah, you did.
Yeah, I was like, this
I
one.
think we could do it
Yeah.
because you've been doing YouTube for years. Like, have you gone live?
I go live all the time.
Because you're a Patreon like expert, pretty much
I
compared to us. You first of all, you got a lot of patrons, and you know, as somebody who is one of your patrons, I get your notifications for your lives. I've never been able to make one because it doesn't work out time wise for me. But you do it on YouTube.
Yeah, I do it on YouTube. I mean,
You send out private links.
Yeah, exactly. I do it on my phone, actually, which keeps it super simple. I don't use any kind of, I forget what you call it, but on my phone, you know, it's built in there. You just do YouTube Live, and then you could do it as an unlisted link. So only people with the link can access it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just send it out to the patrons. They click it, and they're in.
Wow.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to take some.
Man, I mean, if we can make, because even last time was like just, it worked out fantastic, but it was just difficult to achieve.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a lot of work to go live.
It can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you want to have more control over, if you're gonna have different camera angles and switch between different views on screen and all that, then yeah, it can get complicated. But for me, it's
just you and the camera and then some fragrances.
And then the folks tuning in. Really, I've done some interviews with folks, you know. Where you have to do like a dual screen thing, and that can get complicated. But there are easy ways to do it. I've learned. There's one called StreamYard. If you haven't heard of that,
So that's literally what we used.
great.
Yeah,
StreamYard
we
is
use
great.
StreamYard.
It's probably one of the best. It's
Yeah, we
just
use
for
the free
simplicity.
version. Yeah, it was super simple. I watched like a review on it, a very quick review on it.
Yeah.
And so I liked it. So we're definitely gonna keep. The only thing we had an issue with was it wasn't picking up the third mic. So we had John on there. For some reason, StreamYard couldn't hear it. But we could all hear each other. So I don't know. I have to mess around with it and see what's going on. But
It didn't matter. It was me, so you couldn't hear me, and that's totally fine. I don't never have nothing to say, anyways. I just be here. I just be here. I'm actually here for Jeff's moral support. If y'all don't know this, like that's how the podcast got started. Jeff had mentioned, "Hey, I want to do a podcast." He had mentioned it to Uncle Rod, and Uncle Rod was like, "Yeah, you should do it." He was like, "Okay, cool." And he asked me to do it. I don't even know why he asked me to do it.
because we had been having these dope conversations, like
That's
just
right, yeah.
we just always had good conversations. They're very deep, and we see things pretty similarly. We get excited about very similar things.
We do.
And so I was like, yo, people should. I feel like they can learn from us, not because we have a lot of stuff to offer, but because they can learn from our mistakes more than anything, and just us wrestling through certain things.
Facts.
And we just feed off each other, and so I just thought it would be good for a podcast. And I've been listening to podcasts for so long. I'm like, I think I could do this. I think it'll be fun, and it's been
It has been legit
dope. Yeah, man.
Like I can't. There's been a few episodes that I was like, man, that was a tough episode. Like the one we did on identity. That was a hard episode.
Yeah.
But even when we got done, I had like two of my students had like tuned into it, and they were just like, yeah, listen to it. I didn't understand this part, and I didn't understand this part, and I'm like, dang, okay. But I think that was like God giving me the opportunity to explain to them, so because they know me. So even if I said something like the wrong way or like didn't giving terms their justice or whatever, people were still like, oh, but I know you didn't mean it like the way you said it on the podcast. Could I show you how to say it next time, or could you help me understand what you meant? And like that was deeper than anything else I could ever imagine. I didn't think none of that would ever happen. And now that we have podcasts, stuff like that happens often.
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to like point people to it, and you just get those comments and like people share our podcast. My mom was like, remember that particular episode? She was like, yeah, I shared it with my coworker.
Oh yeah,
and it really helped her. And I was like, that's what
crazy.
this is for. That's the whole point of this. So
yeah,
man, just that kind of leads into a little bit what I want to talk about today.
Oh yeah.
We're at 10 minutes already, which is dope. So hopefully you guys can see this still. I try to make it so I can still see everything. But I just want to recap the good and the bad of this crazy year, this unprecedented year. And
you would.
The year's not over yet, so I can still use it. And so, first of all, let's start with something light. How was Christmas? Something light. How was Christmas, man? 'Cause we didn't get to see. We hung out during Christmas. We didn't get to see.
Yeah. Okay, so Christmas was dope. It was a little bit taxing. I'm not gonna lie. Being at my in-laws for 4 days. It's exciting. It's what does patients say? Amazing.
It's amazing. It's
amazing.
Just amazing.
Just amazing. Being with family was really good. Like, that was always like the fear that we wouldn't be able to be with each other during the Christmas season. And people wouldn't be able to come down and all that kind of stuff. But luckily, Jessica's sister was able to come into town, and her kids, and then her boyfriend. I don't know. It's a weird relationship, but they were able to come down, and then got to see Jessica's dad, Jessica's grandfather, and earlier this year, Jessica's grandmother had passed away. So I think Jessica's grandfather really needed us to all be there for Christmas. The first Christmas without his wife after 50 years, after 57 years.
Yeah.
So more than he's been married longer than he's been alive. So.
Yeah, that's how our grandma. They were married for 61 years before our grandpa passed.
Yeah, it's just I can only imagine what that feels like to not be there with your spouse. So that was being with him was dope. And actually, this is the first time me and him ever had a legit conversation without anybody around. It was just me and Lalo, and it's so funny because he cusses a lot, which I appreciate. I appreciate it. I was like, man, thank you so much for just being real. And he was just sharing with me all the things that he went through, and how it feels to no longer be with his wife being there. And I was like, man, he's like, there's some things that you just gotta be okay with being married. And this might even help you a little bit. It definitely helps us. We are married. Yeah. But he was saying marriage is not. It's not all about the physical attraction. It's not all about the having sex or being able to do fun stuff. The part of marriage that really shows you that you are loved is in the most difficult times, when you can't wipe your own butt and your spouse is there to wipe your butt for you. When you can't bathe yourself, but your spouse is there to bathe you. When you can't put your teeth in. And I was like, I didn't think about this kind of stuff. He was at a point where he couldn't, when he was sick and he couldn't put his dentures in. So his wife had to put his dentures in for him. I'm like, yo, that's love. So there were some really, really dope parts about Christmas. And those are some of them. The dopest part of Christmas, though, was when my brother-in-law, he rededicated his life to Jesus.
Wow. In
the most strange lineup of events I've ever seen.
Man, tell the story.
So, how much time we got? All right, cool.
Take your time.
No, I'm not gonna take my time. I'm going fast. So the crazy thing is, I didn't know that that my brother-in-law was gonna show up. I didn't know he was gonna be there, and he had or from what I heard, because I don't talk to him or his or Jessica's sister that often. So sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, and just like any relationship. But I always had like a difficult time just not knowing the situation, and then not being like courageous enough to ask them straight on, like, "Hey, how's your marriage, or how's your relationship going? How's this?" Just felt like I was out of place. It's not my place to ask. So I didn't know if he was coming or not. And then they show up. She walks to the door with her kids. Everybody's screaming, "Oh my God, good to see you!" Yada yada yada. And then I'm just like, okay, cool. He's not here. Like not in a bad way, but I was like, all right, cool. Like just the tension and whatever, what I thought was gonna be there. I was like, I wanted to avoid that. And then I hear, "Oh, Josh," from Jessica's mom, and I'm like, "Oh, he is here. All right, let's see how this transaction goes down."
Is you.
It is you looking like yourself. So he comes to the door, and immediately, bro, I can't even explain this feeling to you. I felt like something like grabbed my heart and like pulled it. Like I don't know if this actually happened. If I like actually like, who did that?
Moved, yeah.
But I was moved, bro. I was like, dang, what was that? And at that point, I'm just like, okay, let me just pay attention to whatever's going on, because we had just got done with a 15-day fast.
That's right.
So like, I guess I'm in tune with the spirit. Like, I'm hoping I'm in tune with the spirit. So I felt that tug, and then like, we say hi, and then I hug him, and then I'm like, "Bro, you good?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I was like, "Okay, I don't know what this is, but all right, good to see you." So we chopped it for a little bit, and then that day I'm going to Flipside for a meeting that we had scheduled the week prior. So I go meet with one of our pastors, and I tell him about the story with my brother-in-law, and he's telling me like,
Because weren't you reading the prodigal son story, and Josh like came in?
yeah. So like,
and asked you about it.
yeah. So like that. So he came in on Monday night. We had chopped it up, and I'm reading the prodigal son story. I can't remember why I was reading it though. It's God, I can't remember like exactly what led me to read it. So I'm reading it, and then he comes in while I'm reading it, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just reading the prodigal son story." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I know that one." He didn't know anything about it. So like he knew like bits and pieces, but he was like putting like 3 different stories into one. So he put like the rich young ruler, and then the story of like Joseph going to jail. Like all that was like in one story. And I didn't fault him for him. Like, if you don't read the Bible, you don't know. It's
Absolutely.
like I wouldn't like think that you knew, Harry Potter books if you didn't read them. And just so he ends up like, we just talked like 25 minutes just about the story. And then, so I basically retell the story without reading it, because I don't know why I didn't read it, but I retell the story, and he's like, "Man, this is crazy," because like I feel like this is where I am right now in life. Like I know who God is, but like I just feel like distant from Him. But like I know that I left on my own. I know I didn't leave because He pushed me away. I know that I left on my own, kind of forgot about Him, and like yada yada yada. So we chop it up, and then we end up talking about like finances and all this kind of stuff, and then the conversation ends. And we all go home, go to bed, and that was it. And I'm like, man. And so the next day, I go to meet with my pastor, one of my pastors, and I tell him the story, and he's like, "You had him at the prodigal son, and like you didn't like lead him back to Jesus at that point?" And I was like, "Nah." Like, and if I'm honest, like just so our listeners can understand this, like I was hecka scared. Like I was like, I felt like, okay, if you get to the point where you have to like, because you can't really like beat around that bush. Like you either like approach it head on or you avoid it. There's no like tiptoeing to the cross. Like you just can't. So I feel like, okay, if I bring this up, like he's gonna have to make a decision. And if the decision is like, "Nah, I don't want to do this," I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. I don't know how I'm gonna react, because I know he's not rejecting me, but I know
Sure enough, feel like it.
It's coming from your heart.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm looking out for you. I'm trying to get you to like understand that this Christianity thing, this like following Jesus thing is real. Like this is real. You've got to like attempt something. So I was like, "Nah, let me just leave it alone so I don't get hurt." And then I talked to Pastor Carl, and Pastor Carl was like, "Who cares about you? It's not about you. Like your feelings gonna get through." Like he was aggressive as heck.
He's an evangelist, man. So,
He was aggressive. But he gave me the courage to like that night to speak to him again. So I get back to the house, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk to Josh. We get in the living room, and then everybody's in the living room. So like we started the conversation like 2 or 3 times because people kept on walking in, and there was times when he was talking about some like really personal stuff he didn't want no one else to hear. And there's times when I was like mentioning like Jesus when someone else would come into the room who was like not they're like an atheist, but like they just think like being a Christian is a joke. So I was like, I don't really want like
That distraction.
Yeah. So I don't nothing against the person, but I was like,
you're not gonna be
you're not gonna be helpful, and then you're gonna like, and then they try to make, which is my thing, make everything a joke when things get tense.
Yeah.
But like, this is not the moment to make a joke.
Right.
So we had to keep starting and stopping. So we ended up talking till like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m, just talking. And I remember as we were talking, I was like, bro, he's telling me all his issues, all of his problems. And I'm like, bro, I'm not saying that like Jesus will get you out of any of these issues or problems, but I know that life will be a hell of a lot easier if you let him take control. And he was like, I mean, I want him to, but I don't even know how to do that. And I was like, dang, if you ever seen a bullseye this big.
Oh my, somebody was just like lobbed it up. All you got to do.
I mean, lobbed it up. It's like bouncing off the glass.
Yeah.
And I got all the time.
And it's a 5-foot rim. Like, there's no way you can miss this.
So I'm just like, all right, here we go. I was like, bro, do you want to like get closer to Jesus? And it's like, I do. I was like, do you like serious? Like, don't play. Like, I'm not, like, we had a conversation. We've been talking for 2.5 hours now. There's no point for like beating around the bush. If this is something that you want to do, like, you got to rededicate your life to God. Like, you said that you were following him and now you're no longer following him. What are you going to do now? You've already stated the problem. You stated the issue. What's the solution? And he was like, I don't know. What do I do? It's like, you got to tell God that you want to follow him. You got to tell Jesus that you want to get back to him and like be serious about it. So we talked for like another 5 or 10 minutes and he's like, all right, I'll do it. And I was like, hey, you talk. I'm not talking to God for you. You talk to God. Like you said, this is where you are. You tell him. So he prays.
You do the ABC thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said like that he's already accepted him, or what he said.
Acknowledge that you're a sinner.
Yeah, he's already acknowledged that he's a sinner. He knew that he had messed up. He knew that he had to believe, and he already did. But he knew he had to commit. So that at the end, I'm like, we got to close this gap. Like, you got to start moving closer to Jesus. So he prays like God, like, which is really a dopest prayer. I love when people who are not like trained in Christendom and when they pray, because it's real.
Christianese.
Yeah, like they don't say that. He was just like, God, I effed up.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad that you put like Brandon in my life to like show me, but not just to show me, but to actually like ask me the right question. And I want to come back. Like, I want to be in a relationship with you in a real way. And he had said some other things that I was like, dang, this dude is like literally talking to God right now.
Let's go.
So like
That's
after
amazing.
the prayer was over, I was like, bro, now we got to like legitimately walk together. And I promise, if you have any questions, like holler at me. I got a podcast out. You can listen to it. It's pretty trash, but you can listen to it.
It's not trash.
I was like, you can listen to it. It could help. And then I put him on the Bible Project, and he loved it. He was like, I didn't even know stuff is out here like this. Like, if I'd have known about Bible Project beforehand, I could have been, at least like knowing more about the scripture, knowing about the Bible. And he's like, I'm gonna watch this. So I sent him like how to read the Bible, like that whole segment, and just kind of opened his eyes. And then he mentioned to me the day we left, he was like, yo, I haven't been baptized. And I was like, for real? He's like, nah, I've never been baptized. I was like, bro, like, do you understand what it is? And he was like, not really. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, we're gonna chop it up some more, and like I want you to get baptized like soon, but we're gonna talk about it more so you understand. And so that's gonna be our next conversation. Actually, tomorrow we're gonna be talking about baptism and like what that looks like. And he was just like, he was more receptive than I thought, which I think that many people are.
Yeah,
I think that's our fault.
But again, like, we don't believe, like, I don't know if you saw Pastor Carl's, what they did today at church. It was really cool. They had like the staff, including patient, and they all talked for at least 5 minutes. Some people went over just about the year and stuff like that. But Pastor Carl basically was just like, he previewed what he's going to be doing to start the new year, the new series he's going to be going into, which is going to be on the Word of God. And he's like, we need to live and believe that this word is real, like what this Bible says is true. And like when the Bible says like no one comes to the Father except those he draws, like we act like that's not true.
That's so.
Like, no one comes to you, God, except those who I talk to and say it correctly.
I'm the one that's making this happen.
I'm the one. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. So that's a great story,
it just, I've never, man, this is gonna sound terrible as a preacher, but I've never been like excited to. I've always been super nervous to share like Jesus with somebody in a real way. Like I never had a problem with telling someone like, you know, my testimony or how God like did a good thing for me and all kind of stuff. But like telling someone else like, yeah, he did this for me. He can do this for you. But like you have to make a decision. It's not like he's already came, lived, and died. Like what else do you want him to do?
Yeah, the news has already occurred.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just got to respond.
You just got to respond to it.
Yeah.
And I've always been nervous about that. But when I was talking to Josh the night after we talked to Pastor Carl, bro, all I had was joy in my heart. Like I was like, this is gonna work. Like not because of me.
Yeah, because God.
But because
gonna do
God,
what he said he
because
gonna
like
do.
I had to like even thinking about it after we talked to Pastor Carl, I'm like, bro, how did all that line up? Number one, I didn't know a dude was coming.
Yeah.
Number one, I didn't know it was coming. Secondly, I thought that him and Jessica's sister were gonna be at odds. Thought they're gonna be like, you know, not ready to receive. And then Pastor Carl tells me, okay, when you talk to him, just know it's gonna be a bunch of distractions. All this.
Things are gonna come.
Yeah, all these things are gonna happen. That's gonna make it more and more difficult. And like, I guess those things did come, but because my perspective was different, I didn't even like notice. I was like, okay, we just gotta pause. All right, and you're gone. Cool. Let's get back. Somebody else here. Pause. All right, we're done. Cool. Let's get back. And it wasn't hard at all. And I was like, and
That's
my whole
of
time,
your adaptability trait. Too,
oh, could be
that you have.
Could be.
Yeah.
Because I was juiced, bro. I was like, yo, I'm finna tell you this whole gospel right now.
The Holy Spirit descended on you. And
That's amazing, man.
It just felt, and then the last thing that felt like the best was the fact that I know now, like my brother-in-law is not going to hell, like that he's gonna spend all eternity, and that I have a role to play in his discipleship. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I'm gonna be there like for his whole like journey or whatever, but now me and him, like even last night, like the night we were leaving, like he called me his brother. We've never called each other brothers. I've known this dude for 8 years. Never has like called me his brother. And we were leaving. He was like, "Hey, I guess we're brothers now, huh?" I was like,
let's get
"Yes,
it.
we are." I had to contain my excitement. I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure, bro." But I was stupid.
If you
juice,
say
man.
so.
If you say so.
Hey, you said it, not me.
But I was so excited, man. And I think this is where even like Pastor Carl, he's like our pastor here in Madeira.
He saw him today. We watched the
Oh
service
yeah,
online.
that dude is different.
Seriously.
But he has so much excitement when sharing the gospel with people. He's
Yeah.
genuinely happy to do so. And I'm like, what? How do you
Because it's
do
his
it?
purpose. Like when you're doing what you were created to do, you can feel it. It's a different kind of thing. You don't get tired. You just being used. You're being a shovel.
There it is,
You know what
man.
I'm saying?
Getting used for your
So
purpose.
I don't know how Justin and I are gonna follow that up, but I'm gonna let Justin try. So Justin,
Let's go.
how was your Christmas, man? Christmas Eve.
Tell
and
him how the
Christmas.
Lord brought you to heaven. Got to see the third heaven.
Man, it was really special. For me, you know, I currently live in Oregon. I've been there 2.5 years now. And the last time I was here at home was last Christmas, which is crazy. It's been an entire year since I've been home, been able to see my family.
Wow.
And that brings everything in perspective alone. Just time, the aspect of time. And it's something I've been thinking about all year. I had plans to come home soon. I was going to come home in April for Easter. That fell through because that was like right when things were ramping up.
Yeah.
I was going to come home maybe like August, and then I started teaching, and then everything, it just got busy. Just got real busy. So,
The wildfires.
oh yeah,
They were really bad in October.
And
in
where
Oregon.
you were at, bro, I remember he posted
in
a
Oregon,
video.
yeah.
I was like, bro, that's got to be a filter. He was like, nah, it's not. I was like, there's no
the
way.
world was brown. Like I was like, how is the air like the world like a filter?
It looked like a filter.
Yeah, man.
I was like, from my eyes. It was crazy. But yeah, so just being able to come back for this time for the Christmas season.
Yeah.
And have it's been a year. I'm with my family, and I've been looking forward to it so heavily. And I've been really feeling pulled. It's like, man, I need this. And I was able to come and bring my girlfriend Grace, and
She's awesome, by the way. That hug, bro, I will not soon forget.
I'm gonna
that.
say it right now, and I've been saying it all weekend. This is it. This is the one.
Already?
I agree.
I'm telling you right now, this is it, bro. So just get ready, get your suit ready.
Hey,
For your
Pacey just
wedding
got me some
invitation.
shoes for Christmas.
Hey,
Oh
man.
yeah, let's go.
Yeah, man, this is it. I'm not afraid to say it.
I'm
I'm not either.
after
This
that-
is the first time in my life I'm not afraid.
Let's go.
It really does feel like, and I've told her this all, since we started dating. She is a gift from God in my life. And that in itself is a whole story of how we met. I'll save that. But her being able to be here with me, having a reunion with my family after an entire year of absence, it's just the most special thing. Even in the midst of the pandemic and all the uncertainty, this is the most special Christmas I think I've ever had, like by far. So that's how I could put it, to be short.
Hey, I don't know how you gonna top that, Jeff.
We're gonna take a quick. I mean, all I will say to follow that up is I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah.
And it was starting to maybe look like it wasn't gonna happen, and I was like, man, I will drive up there and get you.
Man.
Like this, this needs to happen. And so I was really happy to pick him up from the airport, and we had a great time. Christmas Eve, people were here. It would have been great if you guys were here, but
Yeah, it would have been dope.
yeah, but we had a great time. They got to meet everybody. Everybody got along really well. Food was amazing. Gosh, shout out to Brandon Greer's mother.
Oh, she.
Woo!
threw it
Brandon.
down. She threw it down.
I'm about to
Brandon.
cry.
You should.
Dang,
Bro, she cooked
Every kind of meat.
everything you could. The salmon,
Yes.
the
chop.
fettuccine,
Pork chop.
pork chops.
Oh, yes.
Those garlic
Chicken.
bread knots. She's like, oh, those are, I
Yes.
just made those from scratch. Those are easy. I was like,
Dog.
she said, actually, it's gonna be super easy.
Barely an inconvenience.
She cooked
she
the
is-
mess out that
was
food, bro.
good.
Bro, she
Oh, man.
she's the only person I've ever seen like I don't want to say she's like seasoned bacon, but like without
Told
like
me that.
she I mean she threw like chives and garlic and onion like in the pan, and then just like that's all, and just gave us the bacon, and you're just like, what was all that for? You didn't even put the bacon on. You're not gonna put none of that stuff on the bacon. Oh no, it's in the fat. It's in just like, bro. I've been to that bacon like instant coma. I was like, dude, this is crazy. I didn't know you could do this. So from now on, I'm not cooking bacon regular.
She was
No
amazing. That-
civilian bacon.
yeah,
No more civilian bacon out here.
yeah, her food was crazy, and we got to hang out till like hecka late, like 2 a.m. after everybody with kids left.
Oh,
It was us, me and my wife, him and his girlfriend, and then John and Sienna and David and Aaliyah.
oh, let's
We got
go.
to play Family Feud. That was super fun. It was a great time. And then yesterday was great.
The no kid gang.
No, wait.
I missed
Christmas was great. We got to go. We had breakfast with my in-laws. That was fun. And then we got to spend like most of the day with our parents. That's when they met Grace. That was super fun. And then the next day they came to our house and we watched Tenet.
Oh,
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, man, these last few days have been. It was way better watching Tenet the second time. By the way, it made way more sense.
I think I'm about to buy it.
We have it on Amazon. It was like $20.
Yeah.
So
Okay, yeah, I'm
maybe
gonna
I can
snag
share
that
it
up.
with you or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I need that.
But yeah, man, guys, Christmas was great. I hope your Christmas was fantastic. We are actually gonna take a quick break,
Yeah.
and we will be back after this. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
This is a commercial for Preacher's Hour.
How to pay the bills.
Yeah, our Patreon, guys. So we talked about it a little bit in some episodes, but this is the actual commercial for it. So we have a Patreon. They have a website as well as an app that you can get. And we have 2 tiers on our Patreon. If you know how Patreon works, if you watch other YouTubers, everyone has it. My brother has one. Heck of people are using them. So we have a donation tier, which is $3 a month. You don't get any extra perks. You're literally just helping us out. We just would love it.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
And then we have a $5 a month tier, and that one you would get access to our YouTube live that we will do. So we're gonna start doing. We did an Instagram live before. We're gonna start doing YouTube lives, and they'll only be for our $5 a month Patreons. And they'll be able to do like live Q&As with us, and it'll just be really interactive. So if you don't want to miss out on that, hit on our Patreon real quick. The link will be in the description of our episodes. It's patreon.com/preachershour. If you need more information, hit us up on Instagram.
Yeah, help us out.
Yeah, man. All right, back to your regularly scheduled program. All right. I swear, that was the hardest thing Brandon has ever had to do with his life. He was struggling.
I was like, in my head, I'm like, no, it's got to be over. It's got to be over.
It's been 20
Even though you
seconds.
could see the time on the screen, you were like,
I can't. What this is like 1,000 0.
No, you gotta look at the one next to it.
Which one?
That.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'm looking up there like, I don't even know what that means.
But it's got to be at
Been
least
1,000 seconds.
Jeff, you don't feel that awkwardness? Hey, that's the one thing about like when I like earlier sharing the gospel with people. You got to get used to awkward silences because people are literally like trying to process what you're saying. Most of the time, you talk to people who are like-minded, so you could just, kind of like finish your sentence really quickly and then go to the next subject. But when I was talking to Josh, I was like, "Oh, I got to stop talking," and I stopped, and he's just like, I'm like,
and you could hear yourself blink like.
You can hear yourself blink. And then I was like, do you understand? He was like, kind of, but can you repeat this part? And I was like, okay, so you're really thinking. So you repeat it. So I think that's when, like, I don't know if you're an adaptable type of person, and if you're a type of person that can, I don't know, just talk like me, then pause when you're sharing. Pause when you're sharing the gospel because people need the pause. It's good for them.
That's good. So, let's go ahead and talk about this year. So, what did you guys learn this year? Like, what was the biggest thing you learned from 2020? This craziness, this chaos. What was your biggest takeaway from this year? Dang, I'm gonna get you guys. I'm gonna pause. You guys can.
Now I'm really thinking. I mean, there's a lot of things but I'm trying to think like, what is one thing that really like, oh man.
I know what mine is, so I'm gonna wait.
Oh,
You want me to tell it right now?
well, like,
Please.
because we can think.
Please. Why is whole body
You did.
So the biggest thing that I learned was that no one is too important to die.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of celebrities
Jeez.
and people that were like, oh, he had so much to do and so much still left to give and all. Death don't care. Like nobody is too important to die. You are given, you are allotted so many days. God has already written them out to you as you read in Psalm 139 and Psalm 90, my favorite psalm. Like, we have to be aware that you only get so much time. And people only got so much time. So that gives us such a sense of urgency when it comes to sharing the gospel and making connections with people and loving people and representing God to the world. Like, you really don't have time to be worried about other things like your career and, I don't know, retirement and just all these things these milestones that we try to shoot for. Yeah. Like, ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like, you can have your 5, 10, 20-year plan. You may not walk out. You may not make it till tomorrow.
Facts.
So it's like, and we've seen that with the amount of people that we lost this year.
It's been a grip.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sobering for sure.
Yeah. Oh.
So go ahead and follow that up, guys.
Wow.
You got one, Justin?
I mean, the bar's high,
Man.
and I can't reach it.
That's why he went up when he was like,
it's like when you're a kid and that one kid who can jump super high and grab the monkey bars. Yeah. He's like, hey, get up here with me.
Like, man, I'm not going way up there.
Let me go to the ladder real quick.
My mom and dad ain't got health insurance like that. So.
Exactly. Man. I mean, that is such a profound realization because that transcends you and your own life. Jeez, that's huge. Because that applies to all of us. I don't know if I have something quite that.
Don't start a competition.
You made it a competition.
I
He
did
literally
not,
said.
How did
He literally said.
I was kidding. I apologize. Because the funny thing about
The
what
bar
I
has
can we
been
hit
set.
rewind on the video?
No, So go ahead and follow that up, guys. The funny thing about what I just said,
Flashback.
the funny thing about what I said is that I said, you don't have time to worry about your accomplishments. And one of the next questions is like, so what were your successes and your losses? And then what are your goals for 2021?
Hey,
Totally contradicting myself.
we adapt. This might be all we need. We may not need to go to those other things. We'll see.
Probably. I mean, after what Jeff just said, go live your life on purpose. You only got 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Be intentional.
You know, I can only, I guess, right now in this moment, without having much time to think about it, I can only speak from my experiences.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what did you learn about yourself, about others? Like, it could be very personal. It doesn't have to be some crazy, big thing.
It can be very personal.
Thanks for
I
the
was like, wait.
permission.
You're welcome.
Because I was like, did he mean to say it doesn't have to be super personal?
Yeah.
But you really meant that it can be.
Yeah, like mine was very broad, is what I mean. Like, it affects a lot.
You
It
mean
could be
personal,
like,
like,
yo,
just-
I learned that I need, whatever. You know
Gotcha.
what I'm saying?
Okay, I think I understand now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, man, this year has been honestly in terms of my personal life, one of my best years. I feel like, honestly, just in terms of me really getting what I need, even if I don't feel like I deserved it.
Wow.
I started off the year, if I just think back, coming out of Christmas last year when I was last here, going back home to Oregon, and what I had on the plate in terms of just my daily grind was not really what I wanted to be doing.
I remember that.
It was rough. I was teaching a lot more than I could manage.
Oh, damn.
And it was all, I was teaching at 6:30 in the morning, 4 days a week, and it was rough.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's better than not having a job. But,
yeah, you're right.
But
that's a lot of work.
yeah, I mean, long story short, I was spending my time and energy in a way that I didn't want to do it, but I was doing it. I was putting all that I had into it. Pandemic hit, and my life turned upside down in the best way. I was forced to slow down, and I was just happy. I was really happy. I can explain it, but I don't want to take too much time. Everything, my life just literally improved. Like, and this sounds terrible, in spite of the turmoil that was going on in the world, and a lot of people that were being affected, a lot of people that we lost.
Yeah.
In the midst of it, I felt really blessed. I felt like, man, I honestly, during the time of not really being happy with what I was doing, I can't say I was talking to God about it very often. Mainly because I can't even say I thought about it that deeply, but if I think back as to why I may have been not doing that, it's because I felt like I didn't deserve to. I felt like, well, this was what was given to me by God. The only things I would have to say about it would be complaining.
So let me
I'm
not
not going to do that. But I knew how it was affecting me. I was like, man, I was burned out, completely burned out. So when everything stopped, that it is what I needed right at the right time.
Wow.
And it took me about a week to realize, at least for me in my life, like, and maybe this is what the world needed in general. But at least for me in my life, I needed this. And this was not going to come from me. I mean, it was so profound. I was sitting in my apartment and I was like, God literally stopped the world right now. Like,
I said that. I said that same thing.
me just, you know what? What else can do that?
Yeah.
Facts.
Stop the whole
Whole
The
world.
whole entire world.
Just
Not a city. The
Yes.
whole world.
not a country.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just
And that was huge. I'm like, and if I just think to my tiny little bubble, I'm like, God, this is what I needed. And it wasn't going to happen for me. There's nothing I could do about it, even though I could leave the jobs.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's not the route I wanted to take. So with that realization, everything turned around. Now fortunately, I still had work that I wasn't crazy about either. I was actually working for Amazon at one of their sorting warehouses.
Shout out to Amazon. Not sponsored video.
But sponsors though.
The guy. they have quite enough money, lots of money, lots and lots of money. But and I wasn't crazy about that, but I knew that was temporary, and I knew it was a part of a plan. I was like, okay, I'll stay here. It didn't shut down when everything else stopped, so I was like, that's a blessing in itself. I have a source of income with that. So, but I knew, I was like, I can't keep doing this. So that, again, ultimately, I got to a transition to where I could get out of that. Not that long ago, maybe back in September. But in the midst of it all, in regards to just, the pursuits that are in front of me right now, which is my YouTube channel and music, which had to be put on hold performing wise because
nobody's can't come to gigs.
There's no venues are open, but nonetheless, it's like everything that was in place in my life in this year was put in place a while back before all of this happened. And so when everything stopped, everything else was kind of stripped away, and what was left were things that could sustain me.
Wow. Thank you, God, man.
I didn't plan that. That was not the plan.
That's crazy.
I mean, and there's so many people who didn't have that.
Some people lost everything.
They lost their job. They're having to try to, get assistance from the government and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just like a big reminder. This whole year has been a big reminder of how much power God has and how much mercy God can have. Because again, I'm like, I don't feel deserving of any of this.
Which is the reality, because none of us do.
It's like, this is crazy. And not only that, but I feel like my positions in terms of, where I'm at now, at the end of this year, I'm just like at such a higher place than where I was even when everything started. And I was already like thankful for that change. And now here I am, and everything that I've been doing is just it's grown even more. So going into this new year, I have just nothing but hope and joy. I don't know. It's hard to kind of put it all into words. I haven't really had to do it, but it's just I just feel really blessed.
I think that's it's number one, it's super encouraging to hear how God sustained you. I mean, Jeff and I talk about Bible stuff all the time, and to hear like us say stuff like that, I think our listeners are pretty familiar with it. But like for you to recognize that and then to tell on the podcast, I think that for any listener who's like anywhere near that, like realizing like where God has been the whole time is a beautiful feeling, especially when everything around you is going like, what does Pastor Carl say?
When the fit hits the shan.
There it is.
When the fit hits the shan, you're just like, man. And then you look around, and everybody's like covered in fits, and then you're like, hey, I'm not dirty.
Yeah, it's like I'm okay.
I'm
actually good.
Or even like not just good like financially or physically, but like mentally, I'm fine. Yeah. I mean, there's some people who have had like breakdowns and all this kind of stuff happening, and here we are like, yo, God has been there. And the thing that I've learned is like once my perspective shifted, like his plans were revealed. I think one thing I wasn't aware of is like God has given me a ton of gifts, which people have pointed out time and time again. And I'm always like, well, what do I do with, like, I wish I had one gift, one thing I'm good at, so I would just like excel in that one thing. But God's given me a bunch of gifts, and like one thing I've kind of resented them until now, because when the pandemic happened, Jessica and I lost a lot of hours at our job, both jobs really. And then Jessica was supposed to come on staff at the church in August, and then that didn't happen. So like the funds that we thought were going to be available were not. And then we were like, yo, what are we going to do? Like, we got to, keep up our livelihood. Not only that, but we wanted to extend our reach and like how much money we can make, and kind of like bump up our budgets and all kind of stuff. And it's like, what do we do now? And Jessica has a Cricut, and then I was doing photography, and I got into like more videography work and stuff like that. And just things that like I said, I didn't plan for any of these things to happen. But if it had not been for the pandemic, none of this stuff would have been a reality. So I wouldn't have to do it.
Exactly.
I think I believe that God has, number one, he's orchestrated, even if this pandemic is not from him and he allowed it to happen, like he has orchestrated it for good, even still.
Yep.
Like that's what people don't really understand. And I didn't understand, even as a preacher, as a believer, there's there's certain things that you like, okay, God definitely like the enemy meant it for evil, but God turned it for good. But you can only say that in certain situations. Like, I mean, you're supposed to say it in every situation, but it's hard to say it when things are just getting worse and worse and worse. But when this pandemic happened, it was like, this is terrible, this is tragic. But we don't really understand God's perspective. And like all he has to do, all the work or all the things he has to put in place for something to come out the right way. Like in order for you to have a sustainable job, he had to put the right manager in front of you, the right hiring manager, the right people, the right application. Like your application had to come across the right person's desk. You know what I'm saying? Like you never know. Like there could be, I mean, not saying about Amazon because we want your sponsorship, but like there could be a racist at Amazon and could have saw like your application and saw that you were black and been like, nope, nope. But like we don't understand. And this is one thing that Pastor Carl helped me to see a couple Sundays ago. Dude said there are, like, could you imagine Jesus being born, right? The whole story of Jesus. In order for Jesus to be born where he was supposed to be born, he had to make a whole country,
A whole empire.
a whole empire, take a census to where Mary and Joseph were living
In Nazareth. And they had to travel to Bethlehem.
to Bethlehem. So he had to move to Bethlehem to be born. Not only that, like Mary had to get pregnant, meet or talk to Elizabeth, her cousin, to be sure that like God can do this thing. And then Joseph had to be visited by an angel, and then the shepherds had to be visited by angels. Like we don't understand all that God is doing
Logistics alone.
I mean, you thought UPS had logistics, bruh. What God is doing in our lives that we have no idea he is doing. Like we just we need to be way more grateful because this pandemic could have crushed all of us in this room. Like we could have all been like, dude, we're losing our house because like, you know, because school could have closed and it could have been like, hey, we're closing school. Everybody's going to independent studies, but like parents, you got to teach your kids. Teachers, we got to lay you all off.
I mean, just everything that was in place beforehand, the amount of technology and things that were in place.
Zoom, like we don't
if this happened at a different time. Here's one thing
Microsoft Teams.
One thing that was revealed to me as you guys were talking, like, and I don't say this lightly, but like we survived 2020.
Man.
Like we're here having this conversation.
Well,
I know there's still a few days left. Anything can happen. I agree with you.
Just saying.
But
we might be here in 2021.
But I mean, we got through 95% of 2020
Facts.
when a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you said, we don't deserve it. I don't know why God chose me to be here.
I mean, how many people we lost worldwide? Over 1 million?
Just to COVID.
There's like 1.5 million in America alone.
Oh.
No, there's 1 million. Was it 1 million?
I thought it was like
I think it's
$250,000.
Yeah, it's a 250,000 in America. 250,000 deaths.
Oh, you're right.
1 million cases,
You're
or
right,
like almost 2 million cases.
I was talking about the cases, yeah.
But like
Yeah,
worldwide,
it's like probably 260,000 in America.
yeah. So
Worldwide, it's like I think one.
Oh look, wait, deaths or cases? So 1.7
Deaths.
million deaths
Worldwide.
for just from COVID alone. So like, and this is for
in
me
less than a year.
in less than a year. That's a lot of people, yo. Like that's like conspiracy or not. Like these people really died. I don't care how you think they died, but they not going into 2021.
Yeah.
And for us, we have to just be mindful that every breath given is a gift from God. And I know we're gonna forget about that tomorrow, but the idea is like anytime you think about it, just go back. Like one thing I've learned this year, another thing I learned is your prayer must match your Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving must match your prayer.
Either way. Which, both. They got to be the same. They got to be on equal playing field. So the idea is if you're praying for, 12 hours a day for one thing, and then you get that thing you've been praying for, then your Thanksgiving needs to be on that same level. You got to do 12.
Be like, all right, thanks.
Oh, thanks, God. Oh, you did. Oh, cool. It came through.
So I got another request.
Exactly. Now that you're not busy with this previous one.
Oh, you could do that. Oh, can you do this too?
Yeah.
If our Thanksgiving matches, I don't think that God ever has an issue with blessing us. But when our heart is to do, which is something we found out with Paula White and her praying, it's just like, I get it now. Like it didn't even make sense until I saw that. I was like,
come on now.
From Africa right now.
From Africa right now. But it was like, that whole prayer was comical, but it showed me a lot of things about just American Christianity. Like, we will pray super hard for one thing, but we won't pray that hard for souls to be saved. We won't spend all night in prayer to lead one person to Christ. I mean, when I was trying to lead Josh, I was like, yo, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. But like, I'm in constant communication with God the whole, like, the drive down from or drive up from Merced, down from Merced to Fresno, and then back. I'm just like, God, like, what do I say? What do I do? And I just felt one thing from God. It's like, just be obedient. I got this. You just be obedient. I'm doing the drawing. All you're doing is being a mouthpiece. Be the
Imagine
mouthpiece.
if a shovel was like, I don't know if I can do this.
I don't know if I can dig this hole.
Shut up and let me dig this hole.
Just getting all
I don't
soft
know.
as
I'm a
against
little.
the dirt.
Yeah, it's like I'm a little insecure about this. I don't know.
It's like, dog. And the truth is, like, God is doing a work, man, and for us not to see it, number one, it's extremely disrespectful to the Most High. Like, we can't think that God is a human or like on our level. He can relate to us as such, but he controls our breath. Like, I'll never forget, man, when my uncle told me, I think I was like 7. He was like, "Bro, who keeps you breathing when you fall asleep?" I was like,
Is it you? No.
I don't know. Like, that's how big God is. God sustains everyone's breath while they're asleep. And when he wants to take it, he takes it. I'm just like, dang, that's crazy. We have to give God the respect that he deserves. And secondly, like, the only reason for any Christian's existence is to make disciples. Like,
Multiply.
it's to that has kind of like changed my perspective on life entirely. I mean, granted, I want $1 million. Don't get me wrong. I want to be loaded, but that's not my goal in life anymore. Like, after Josh said yes, I was like, that brought
I
me.
gotta do this again.
I was just like juiced to do it again. Like, I'm just like, yo, who's the next person? Like, I haven't made a list. I have not made a list of like people. So we learned how to like make a list. Yeah, a huddle. Make a list of people that you're praying for that God would draw. I haven't done it yet. Like, Josh was just a fluke. I don't know what that was. Maybe not fluke, but it was God's provision, God's timing on. And I'm like, God, if you could do this when I wasn't even thinking about doing it,
That was a
imagine what it would
wake-up
look
call.
like. It was
He was like, so I need you to make a list and be more intentional.
yeah. And I feel like once I do it, number one, I really can't explain the joy that came from that conversation. Just like knowing that someone that you love and care about is now going to pursue Jesus in the same way you are. Like, we're going to have so much more to talk about now. Like, I'm going to get to ask him questions that I've never thought I could ask him. He was like, and then he's like going to the Bible project. So he's already like texting me questions like, hey, like, when this, like, what does it mean by this? What is he talking about? Just trying to like get the Old Testament and New Testament to make sense. And I'm like, bro, you're excited to talk about this. Like, I feel like I just gained a whole nother brother, like, for real.
That's great.
And, you know, once you do that, when you do it once and you feel that and you do it a second, like, I can't wait for whoever the third person is. I'm coming. Like, don't trip. I'm coming through, but not for me. Like, for you, I want people to have the same excitement that I have about Jesus. And I want people to walk in that, because I honestly, if I'm like 100% honest, I don't know how people made it through 2020 without God. Like,
Facts, man.
like, even if it's not like like I'm totally following him, but like, just like looking at the world and like things crumbling and things like uncertain, and then the election this year, I don't know how you maintain stability or even like trust in your country.
Yeah,
like,
anything.
I mean, I know exactly what you mean. That's a great question, because, you know, just looking on Instagram, I would see people posting on their stories like, oh, if you're not coping with this, you know, here's some tips, and, or I'm freaking out. I'm just all these I'm freaking out posts. And I'm like,
it's like,
you're trying to do it all by yourself.
that's it.
Self-help. That industry probably increased by 400% during this year. Self-help.
Oh,
industry.
yeah. I guarantee billions of dollars, which sucks because it's inadequate to fixing the real issue. And this is one thing I told Josh. I was like, bro, there are things in your relationship with Jessica's sister that I know need fixing. And I just want you to know, like, there's no amount of money that can fix it. There's not enough time in the world for you to get on the same page. The only thing that's going to like heal your relationship, the only thing, is Jesus. And I don't know how he'll do it. I don't know when he'll do it, but but I know he's the only answer. And he was like, it's weird because people see like Jessica and I's marriage and think that we're like 100 like all the time, and we're not. Like sometimes she's 100, sometimes I'm 40, sometimes she has to be like 160. But like the thing that keeps us going is God. Like we have the same foundation. So anytime one of us falls, we fall on that same foundation. Anytime there's an argument, we go back to the same foundation. But when you are two individuals with two different ideologies, two different mindsets, two different perspectives, there's no way you can do life together and it makes sense.
No, you're building on two separate foundations. You're not
It's
living
gonna be
in the
two
same
separate.
house.
It's gonna be two separate buildings. But you can't build two buildings inside of the same building. Like that's what you're trying to do, and like the only way you fix that is by you getting right with God, Risa getting right with God, and then you both like pursuing Him, and He'll make everything work. Jessica and I's relationship was not supposed to work. Like Jessica and I didn't have like the same like story you had with Grace, or the same story you had with Shaween. No, our story was I was a complete asshole, like complete. I could not be nice to this woman if I tried, and it was not because that she was doing anything wrong. No, me. I wasn't pursuing God, and it was just crazy. As soon as both of us made a conscious decision, the only way this is gonna work is if we both follow Jesus. When we did that together and we started doing Bible studies, everything started to work out. Like at that point, I didn't care what my mom said about her. I didn't care what my sister said about her. I was like, no, this is my wife. Like, I don't care. Me and her are gonna be together. If y'all want to leave, that's fine. But she ain't going nowhere. Oh, you only known her for a year. Yeah, but we both got Jesus now, and we gonna go in this direction. And ever since, bro, like we've had ups and downs, but every single time we've come back together and we've stayed married for 8 years.
Mostly up.
Bruh, mostly up.
Yeah, man.
So
Praise God. That's
the Lord can do it, y'all.
So we just got to an hour ish, but we'll go a little longer just because I want to just go to the last question. Okay, because by the time people hear this, it will already be 2021.
That's true.
So what
Speaking into the future.
Yeah, what are your guys's? And I don't want to say goals. I know that's what's written here, but like what do you hope to see? What are your expectations? Because here's one thing that I think is biblical. You pray and you wait expectantly for what God's gonna do. You watch and pray. Like I think it's in Psalms 5.
Oh yeah.
Verse 3, where he's like, I wake up in the morning, God, I present my request to you, and then I wait expecting to see that you're gonna answer my prayer. Right? So what are some things that you are either going to pray for and then expect, or things that you are praying for and you're waiting to see how God's gonna answer? Whether He says yes or no, it's still an answer. So like, what are some things that you're hopefully to get a yes for, or whatever the case may be? What are some things that you're expecting God to do for you in 2021?
I hope Justin gets married to Grace.
Oh yeah. At least proposes man.
In 2021.
It may not be 2021, but yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, unless the unthinkable happens, I don't see that not happening. What I will say is that, I think something I know I have prayed for before the end of this year has been to have a partner that I can, with her, I can actually get closer to God and get to know Jesus more. And frankly, I mean, if I think back on all the partners I've ever had, none of them
didn't have a partner.
Yeah, none of them have come close to that potential.
Wow.
And Grace is literally that. I mean, among many things, many blessings that she is in my life, we essentially, without getting too deep into it, we're in the same position in regards to like our placement, in the vicinity of God, like our proximity. She also comes from, both of her parents are in ministry. They're both pastors, actually. Her mom is currently one. Her dad was one for a while, a good while, but he's in ministry in other ways. Gotcha. So she grew up in that. And, I wouldn't say both of us like drifted from it, but I guess we perhaps stagnated, kind of at the same pace, and we find ourselves in the same place. Yeah. And we've talked about it, and it's just so much more encouraging to think of taking that journey with somebody that you really care about, and knowing that we can, again, help each other and kind of be, again, side by side. So that is something I mean, for one, God has already answered that prayer of just like, here's someone.
Yeah.
And now all there is upward potential. So just praying that we can do that, or we can be shown that path. So
Hey, I love that, man. I mean, I'm gonna be praying for it too. There's something about like marriage and like the pursuit of marriage that's beautiful. One, not just marriage to a human, but married to God. Like pledging your allegiance and your loyalty and having a covenant relationship with Jesus while you're building a covenant relationship with another person. It just puts things in perspective. Like even for Jess and I, like I had to learn, like, man, I can't ever allow my wife to feel the weight of a husband because Jesus never let me feel the weight of the cross. So I don't know what it's like to be on the cross. I saw it. I have no idea what it feels like. So whatever weight is put on me, like as a husband, like as a provider, as a protector, like I can't ever let my wife feel that. Like it's not her place to feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like God chose me to be the protector and the provider. Okay, cool. Like my wife can provide. I'm not saying she can't. She can have a job and do whatever she wants.
But the weight.
But the weight of that
Brandon,
is
you
on me.
convicted the mess out of me right now. That was a bar. I'm like, that is fantastic.
Way to go, God.
Thank you, Jesus. That was really cool, man. Like Jesus never let us feel the weight of the cross. Wow. All right, I got some self-improvement to do. Thank you for that, Brandon. I appreciate you, man.
What's the goal you got? I didn't say my goal, but go ahead, Jeff. I'll go after you.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. So a big part of it is my brother and my huddle. So my brother, you were on my huddle, my list of people. We talked about it briefly a few days ago or a day ago. But a big thing that I'm praying for is that you and Grace find a church community to get connected with so that you can connect to God and grow. Grow in your knowledge of Him, grow in your knowledge of the Bible and the Word, and get the Holy Spirit going and like get to know Jesus for yourselves in a real relationship. Not, your church background that you guys have grew up in and were exposed to, but like a real, actual personal relationship with your Creator. We've been talking about it your whole entire stay here. I've been praying about it. People ask me, like, is your brother like saved? They go, yeah, he's just disconnected, and because of that, like he hasn't grown as much as he could have.
Like disconnected proximity from.
Yeah, like just the fact that he was he's basically no fault of his own, but he's been kind of alone, like a sheep, like out away. And so when you're not connected to a body of believers that are challenging you and helping you grow and sharpening you, I mean, it's very difficult to hear from God because one of the main ways of hearing from God is through being around other people, and then he speaks through them to you. So we obviously don't talk very often. We talk like maybe once every 2 months, pretty much. And so like I just have prayed that you would find either a church home where you're living, or you guys move somewhere, just whatever the case may be. But like that, both of you guys find a really good Bible believing, Bible practicing church as we grew up hearing. But not only just that, not just a church, but like a real relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
So
that's good. I mean, even the community. I remember when we did the episode and you were telling us like, there's no one around you. Like I think you were like the most like God-fearing person in your group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, man, at least you see it.
It's crazy that you bring that up, because I guess it's full circle at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something I definitely remember talking about, especially in regards to a personal relationship. Not having had this before, and now here we are a year later, and it's like, all right,
yeah,
next step.
And that's the crazy thing, even with like talking to Josh, it literally comes to that one question. All right, what's next then? Like, and it's I don't. This is really the way God created it. Something about like saying to someone, "This is what I'm going to do," or "This is the plan." Even when Josh had to say, like, I was like, "Are you gonna pray and tell God?" Like he sat there for a second, just like, if I say yes, like, then I have to do it because I'm not, because he recognized that he wasn't talking to me. I was like, this is not a conversation between me and you. Like, I'm just a tool being used by God to get you to talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, I remember someone told me, like, how dope is it to be the person to be like, hey, God wants to talk to you.
Yeah, God wants you.
Yeah, man.
Like, that's the, I mean,
That's
even
pretty much, yeah.
when my kids get in trouble and like I'm like I gotta tell one of the other ones to tell one to come here, I'd like tell Casey, I was like, Casey, go tell Gabby to come here now, and she'd be like, okay. She's like runs over there real fast, like, Dad wants you. And she's like, give you that look like you're in trouble.
You're gonna get it. Yeah.
Not that you're in trouble, but like that's just that's what just played in my
hilarious,
head.
man.
And I think that's what I get to be used for. Even in Josh's situation was dope, but he had to make that decision to say, okay, this is what's next. So I would love to like chop it up afterwards to find out like what's next, just so that also we can hold you accountable for growth and we can hold each other accountable to everything that's said here. That's why I love the podcast, because you can't take stuff back. So like the one thing that I want, and I don't know if this is like right to do, honestly, but I wanted to set a goal after I had talked to Josh. I was like, man, I want to tell 15 people about like I want to lead 15 people to Christ. If they say no once I lead them there, that's their decision. Right. But I want to lead 15 people to Christ in 2021. So you know what? Let's just go for it.
You said it.
I did say it. I did say it. I want to lead 15 people to Christ in 2020, at least 15. And I thought about this when we went to the Discovery Center. It's this place where they teach you how to, or they tell you if you're good to plant a church or not, and some other stuff. But there, they had said they wanted to do like 100 churches. They wanted to plant 100 churches in a year. And I was like, man, that's a crazy goal. And they already hit 40. They had hit 40 like 3 months ago. So I'm pretty sure they're probably there by now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like, I don't think setting goals is wrong. It's like it's not a New Year's resolution.
Right.
This is something I want to practice. And the thing is, I want to get better at leading people to Christ. Right. Like at the end of the day, I want it to be easy. I think it's in like 2 Timothy. It says like, you know, do the work of an evangelist. If you're not a person who is good with evangelizing, or
you still have to do the work.
You still got to do the work. You still got, like, you don't get a pass because your gifting is preaching or your gifting is teaching. No, you still got to do the work. So like in 2021, I want to do the work and become a better evangelist to those around me.
Yeah, I got to ditto that. My main one, which is includes Justin, is just like reaching my huddle, reaching my 8 to 15 people. And at least presenting the gospel to them, whether they take it or not, is not up to me. It's, you know, between them and God. But
facts. Man,
this was fun. I always look forward to these. The last time was great with Justin, and I always appreciate, you know, just getting to have these conversations. The older that we get, it's like we've always had a really dope relationship. We've been blessed to have like a really good like brother relationship, and
yeah, we have
yes, Brandon, yes, we have
brother relationship.
But it's just like I really appreciate you and you being here. And as you were talking, I was just like, man, that's my brother. Like
I mean, he is the doper brother.
Yeah, that's not a debate. He is definitely the doper brother.
There is no comparison.
But it's just like the time that we get now. We're both 31. It's just like really cool. I don't know how much more time we're gonna get, and so I just appreciate the time that we have had, and you know, we're gonna get to hopefully go through life together moving forward. You know, get married, have kids, and take care of our parents.
What if y'all have twins?
Don't say those things. Anyway,
that's fake wood, by the way.
I know, but thank you, Brandon. Anyway,
this not way around, bro. And it's too late.
I know. Anyway, yeah, I just appreciate you, man. Thank you for being on here.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Appreciate
it's
you.
My pleasure, man. It's a blessing. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Shout out to Josiah.
Yes.
Thanks for doing what you do, big dog.
Oh, speaking of Josiah, so y'all give on our Patreon because we need that. Josiah does an amazing work, a ton of work, And without him, this is not even possible.
Exactly.
So y'all shoot us some cheese so we can give it to him for
And
all
then-
he does.
And we can get some equipment that will make his job easier, make our product better.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, we're way over time. Thank you for listening this long. Have a great rest of
2021.
holidays. Enjoy your new year. Let's see if we can make this one better than the last one.
Shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, very low bar. Yeah. All right, love you guys.
Jeez.
Later.